Last night we told you the sad and bewildering story of Dr. Oz, a man with absolutely everything going for him: talent, decency, charm, money, name recognition, all the right endorsements, who is nevertheless losing by a big margin as a Republican in what should be a Republican wave election to a radical and incompetent Democratic lieutenant governor who's presided over the decline of the state, and who, by the way, also has had a stroke and can no longer speak in complete sentences. That's happening right now. Dr. Oz is getting crushed by a stroke victim who was already crazy.
I mean, I've heard Fetterman speak and he seems to be able to speak in complete sentences, but nonetheless, that's Tucker Carlson going after Fetterman's Republican opponent, Dr. Oz. And if you think that was vicious, it's about to get even more vicious. Let's watch.
Here, for example, is a recent campaign ad from Dr. Oz. He's the guy who's losing to the stroke victim in Pennsylvania. Watch.
Thought I'd do some grocery shopping. I'm at Wegners, and my wife wants some vegetables for crudité, right? So here's a broccoli. That's $2, not a ton of broccoli there. Here's some asparagus. That's $4. Yep. And carrots. That's $4 more. That's $10 of vegetables there. And then we need some guacamole. That's $4 more. And she loves salsa. Yeah, there's salsa there. $6 must be a shortage of salsa. Guys, that's $20 for crudité. This doesn't include the tequila. I mean, that's outrageous. And we got Joe Biden to thank for this.
$20 for crudité, whatever that is.
Oh, come on. I hadn't seen the video. I read about the video. Really, Tucker? You send your kids to boarding schools. You don't know what a crudité is? Not buying it. Nah, the fake populist thing coming from Tucker Carlson is so cringeworthy and so pathetic, but that's what this is. This is Tucker Carlson positioning himself as an individual who really understands the economic frustrations of ordinary Americans. The only difference between Tucker Carlson and Dr. Oz is that Tucker Carlson, unfortunately, is a little better at it than Dr. Oz is. And before I continue, Cenk, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, there's several different layers of deception in here, and it's really interesting. But to be fair to Tucker, his fortune, his family fortune was built on frozen dinners. He's the heir of the Swanson fortune. So they might not know what crudité is. Come on, Tucker's the most elitist guy you'll ever meet. I remember going to Washington parties when I was a host on MSNBC. Tucker was celebrated. He was the core of the establishment. That's why he's the only guy who's ever had a show on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. No one was more establishment than Tucker Carlson. Now, so the first layer of deception is what Anna pointed to. Oh, all of a sudden he's a populist who doesn't know what crudité is. Get that F out of here, man. At those cocktail parties, you probably had crudité 1,000 times, okay? And so,
in addition to endless amuse-bouches, okay, like endless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found out what all these things are when we first did the story, which leads me to a second point. I mean, sometimes Tucker Carlson, and this is, I don't know how to take this. Well, I do know actually. He will come out and say things that are nearly identical to what we said, but then he will twist them to be in favor of the rich. Okay, so you got to give him credit for that incredible mental gymnastics his audience never notices. But why is he seemingly, even if he's not copying us, why does he seem to be copying a very left-wing populist show? Because he gets that his audience is now populist, and they don't want to hear about how Tucker's amazingly rich friends. They don't want to hear about how great it is to be rich and how we should give all the money to the rich, and big businesses. Even his own audience hates that. That is why he's now done the biggest 180 I have ever seen in media. And the most elitist guy there is pretending to be the most populist guy there is. Okay, but that's not the only layers of interesting tricks that he's got in here. The other thing he said, if you notice, is, well, he had all the best endorsements. What he's basically setting up for is, look, Trump endorsed him. He didn't get it right. I'm getting it right. You should trust me more than you trust Trump. I told you that Oz was gonna lose. Yeah, now that he's down by 10 points, you say that as Johnny come lately, right? We said that when they were tied. But now, which is now another important part of this video, he's basically saying, stick a fork in Oz's crudité. He's done. Otherwise, there's no way Tucker Carlson's doing this segment. He just wants to get credit for being a fake populist, and he wants credit for being better and more politically wise than Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think your analysis here is spot on. And it's really, really important to just constantly reiterate what Tucker Carlson's brand of populism really entails. Because while he might frame his arguments in a way that seems sympathetic to the economic frustrations that Americans are feeling, the only solutions he offers is a white ethno state. And he makes that abundantly clear later on in his show when he regurgitates the same nonsense white replacement theory. Let's take a look at that.
It's obviously very easy to make fun of that, but it's not entirely a stupid ad if inflation were the salient issue here, the generational issue of this campaign season. But it's not. Inflation's terrible. It's making people poorer. We actually could tank the US dollar. These are all big, big problems. But changing the population of the United States, allowing people to be murdered in the street, letting drug addicts live on the sidewalk and sending them crack pipes, that will change everything forever.
So it's just more of the same anti-immigrant nonsense. Yeah, because Cenk, what we're really experiencing here with inflation, you gotta tackle the root causes of that inflation. And clearly it's immigrants, clearly.
Well, they told us that we've had record inflation year after year after year. How come we didn't have inflation in all those years? Why is inflation now all of a sudden the reason for immigration? They're all of a sudden the reason for inflation. Guys, look, they're not even trying to make sense. Immigration has absolutely zero to do with inflation. There are a great number of other reasons that we've talked about before. And the reason Tucker Carlson is running away from the topic now is because inflation is coming down. And by election day, it's going to be less of an issue. So he wants to say no. And by the way, if you're trying to help people economically, that would lead to policies that Tucker Carlson hates: higher wages, more healthcare for all Americans. He doesn't want you to do that. He just wants to distract you with hate the brown man coming into across the border, which, by the way, there's another layer right there. Later, when the entire Republican Party goes, and I know you're thinking they haven't yet, but yeah, when they go full-blown racist, yes, it does get worse than this. Tucker Carlson is gonna say, I told you that Trump backed a no good, dirty Muslim immigrant, Dr. Oz. He shouldn't have done that. And he never wants to praise anyone that isn't a straight white male or a minority just bowed their head completely to Tucker Carlson and licks his boots on a regular basis on air.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.